The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. UK says an Iran-backed group was behind the attacks on Jewish community and bans the Revolutionary Guard. And a salsa festival shooting in Toronto. Toronto police looking for suspects after a deadly shooting at that particular festival. Two killed in a mass shooting at Canada's largest Latin street festival in Toronto, and police warned of an active shooter near Salsa on St. Clair Festival 2 days ago. And police are investigating the suspected murder of Anne Wadcombe. Counterterrorism police are taking over the investigation into Anne Wadcombe's death. So UK police make new arrests in the killing of the ex-lawmaker. And Typhoon Bavi makes landfall in eastern China. Typhoon Bavi evacuates nearly 2 million people as powerful typhoon makes landfall. So it's battling eastern China and it's threatening days of heavy rain. I know we had some rain, but it wasn't heavy. I'm gonna bring in Sharif and see how things are going on in Bangladesh. So how are you doing, Sharif? How are things going in your neck of the woods? Is it a lot of rain over there? We just had a little bit of rain, but we didn't have a lot of rain. Sharif, can you hear me? Can you hear me,
Yes,
Sharif?
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I was asking, is it raining a lot over there?
Yes, there are a lot of rain, and actually 51 people died. Many people are suffering for this rain, and I told you long time before in USA and around the world that climate change is real. So
Right.
that's why I introduced climate leadership, strategic leadership programs with Tando in Bangladesh. And this is definitely right now we have heat wave. After that, uh, this kind of like disasters, this flood, and it's actually creating many challenges for our peoples, for our country. So there are a lot of challenges actually happening around the world. There are war, there is a climate related challenge, there are uh, like many more challenges happening right now. So we need to we united, and we need to help each others, and we have to go for solving this complex problem. Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely have to solve those complex problems and everything like that. I did see that the former emir of Qatar passed away. So Sheikh Ahmad bin Khalifa Al Thani apparently passed away, but he was the ruler that transformed Qatar. So apparently he was the former emir of Qatar, and he died at the age of 74. So I imagine that a lot of the Muslim community will be mourning his loss. It seems like he was a major Muslim leader.
Yeah, Qatar is a very good friend for Bangladesh, and they are one of the good example for improving their countries. They are very good example for making a meaningful contribution for the economy, and they can develop a very good communities. Even there is a countries, they start in a concept that nobody needs to pay for their healthcare and education. So yes, but right now because of this Iran and USA war, this Middle East is a very challenging situation. So definitely, this Qatar Amir fathers died. He was a very good leader, and he created an example for this planet, how we can serve people and how we can build a better communities.
Yeah, that makes sense. The other story that I saw was apparently the South China Sea joint statement says China's maritime claims have no basis. So there's been some conflict over who has the rights to certain parts of the sea and everything like that. So China rejects China Sea ruling on the Indian anniversary. So I know a lot of times nations in those countries are very much dependent on the fish industry and everything like that. The cows tries foul after 14 nations, including Japan, rejected Beijing's South China Sea claims. So definitely looks like this is another one of those conflicts over who has the right to the sea and who can fish in the sea and everything like that. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out because Beijing's a fishing community, isn't it? Or has a large fishing community. I think it.
As you discuss about the China, China has a very good impact in South Asia. Even though this uh, war and conflict right now, step by step, they become powerful. But there is an intelligent point I am observing in China. China directly do not go for conflict. Yes, they have enough military power and equipment and so on. there are some sort of conflict they have, but they purely focus on their business, economic growth, and so on. So, which may be very interesting aspect for us, and we can observe China in an effective way. Recently, our Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Mr. Tariq Rahman, he visited China. China approached to Bangladesh Prime Minister how Bangladesh, Myanmar, and China can develop a corridors from Bangladesh with this train. Maybe Bangladeshi people in the future they can go to China directly. Even still, what I see in the Bangladesh, China Belt and Road Initiative activate, and many of the suppliers, because of the price is very low, they are bringing all of the products from China and they're selling in the Bangladesh market. So Bangladesh has a dependency on China. On the same way, Bangladesh has a very good trade and commerce related relationship with the USA. Bangladesh is a second position for suppliers of the cottons and these things in USA. So this is interesting moment, and this is also challenging moment. How Bangladeshi Prime Ministers, Mr. Tariq Rahman, he can handle this global politics, global economy, and global superpower in an effective way. Also, he has to overcome from the challenging situation like natural disasters and so on. China, I'm just giving it like an example for Bangladesh. So it's not only Bangladesh, like each and every component and each and every country. Like if I focus on South Asia, even though India, in Pakistan, in Nepal, in Sri Lanka, in Maldives, in Afghanistan, everywhere China is creating impact. So I hope with this North-South corridor, what World Talent Economic Forum is developing, we can get more impact investors, we can bring more technology partners, we can bring more innovators, we can bring more trade and commerce related peoples in this ecosystem. So your podcast and podcast related activities can create a huge impact in our economy and economic related activities.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense and everything along those lines. Just in that same realm, I know I got a couple of letters from you about the wisdom program that you have developed, and you're reaching out and are letting folks know that the World Talent Economic Forum and Pod TV are aligned and are working with some international leaders. So tell us a little bit more about wisdom, because some people that are watching the show may not be as familiar with what you are initiating and all along those lines. So tell us a little bit more about this wisdom. I did get one of your letters that I think you had sent to some of the leaders there in Asia earlier today and everything like that. So just tell us a little bit more about this wisdom initiative.
Thank you for asking me these questions. This is actually very important questions. Like when I started my World Talent Economic Forum, I do focus on knowledge creations. So step by step, I can understand there are many knowledgeable person like you, those who are contributing around the world. And wisdom-based people, they can come from any religion. They can come from any area of this planet. They can come from North America, they can come from Africa, they can come from South Asia, Europe, Australia, anywhere. So even though many of the people is wise, but we need to apply it, right? We need to apply it in an effective way. If you see, even though my country's politics, if you see our financial institutions, if you see our media and so on, wisdom is something which is missing. Now everybody talking about artificial intelligence. So I write a book on wisdom cities. Even I build up these innovative things like long years. Definitely, I read Quran. I read even I have chance to read Bible, Torah, Jaburs, and all of the things. So as we are, right now we are in knowledge economy. If we do not focus on the wisdom, there is a lackings. So wisdom is very simple. In a simple way, I want to say ethical practice. The more you practice in ethics in your media will be successful, and it will be a community product and which can add values for the society. And then your pod tv will grow very fast. Your podcast can make a meaningful collaborations with the people. The same way, if you see the politics must need to integrate this wisdom leadership. Why? Because we need more wise people in politics who can take care of the people, who can take care of the communities, who can make an ethical practice of these things. But what is happening right now, the we are not observing that people are utilizing wisdom. The same way, if you see the corporations, academia, industries, and NGOs, we need to engage with wisdom in a sense of ethical practice, which will be valuable for talent economy, right? Then the talent people will be more confident. Okay, we have a chance, we have proper chance to contribute for our society. And this 1,000 years of history, you can find all of the wise men in this planet. They are actually creating impact. It can be Nikola Tesla, right? It can be George Washington. It can be Ziaur Rahman. It can be Mahatma Gandhi. It can be Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It can be Jesus Christ, uh, all of the people, year and year, they are contributing through this wisdom. So I believe our wisdom is something. If we have it, then we can build up better technocracy. We can build up technology-oriented city and corporations and so on.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And there's going to need more people involved in wisdom. And all along those lines, I did see that Nick was in the background, so hopefully he'll come on camera, because I did see that his country has been celebrating because Spain is in the finals of the World Cup, and all along those lines. So it's going to be Spain against France, and I think France is slightly favored, and then it'll be England against Argentina. I know Sasha was predicting an Argentina-French final, so we'll find out starting tomorrow, because I think the first game is France against Spain on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday is Argentina against England and everything like that. So we'll see how this all plays out, and if Sashi is right, and it's going to be an Argentina-French final, or maybe Spain will surprise everybody and win. But like I said, I did see Nick in the background, so maybe he'll come on camera and tell us if he's been part of those celebrations. That might be why he's in the background. He might still be celebrating and everything like that, because there was a big celebration in Spain around Madrid and all along those areas, just like there were big celebrations in Buenos Aires, big celebrations in London, and big celebrations in other parts of the winning places as well. I'm sure London was jumping. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask Rick if his daughter was part of those celebrations.
No, she just lives her life. I don't know which. I mean, for soccer, I just got here.
Yeah, for soccer, I was just mentioning.
Oh, no, her husband is really, really into the British team. My kid, she's never been a huge sports fan.
Gotcha. Well, there are 4 teams, 3 from Europe and 1 from South America. So it's Argentina, France, England, and Spain. So I was seeing. But
it's brutal for them, because sometimes they have to stay up till 4 a.m.
Right.
Because it's played in the U.S. and there's an 8-hour time difference between the West Coast and England.
Yes, there was. I think the games that they won, there was like 2 or 3 in the morning when the victors were decided, because those are not short games and everything like that. How concerned, Rick? This is another topic, and maybe Sharice has got thoughts around it as well. Are you concerned about our safety when it comes to earthquakes and everything like that? Because the death toll for Venezuela earthquakes has risen to 4,490, and I know y'all are in California. Well,
we're pretty concerned recently, because there's the Pacific Plate, also known as the Ring of Fire, right, which it goes all the way down the west coast of North and South America, and then it wraps around and comes back up through the Pacific Islands and and then comes the other side of it is Japan into Korea and up around Alaska, and that whole thing. It's a giant chunk of the earth, and it has been shaking lately. And they say that the LA area is overdue for a massive quake. So I've been going around. You buy this stuff, museum wax. It's some very sticky wax, and you put it on the bottom of all your stuff, and then you set it down, and you're hoping that in a quake, it's enough to keep your stuff from being thrown off of the shelves. We got certain pieces of furniture that are strapped to the wall. You put screws into the wall, and then you put we got a lot of that stuff though, and we didn't live in this house for the 94 quake, but we were told that it got the hell shaken out of it. So yeah, we're nervous.
And surprisingly, there are faults even in the East Coast, I mean, we don't get them as often, but I do know that when I was working at Measurement and we were going to the physical building, I think there was at least once, maybe twice, that there were shakes and people were going like, "What the heck was that?" But yeah, there are faults even on the East Coast as well, and they will sometimes be shaken and everything like that. They are rare, but when they happen, they definitely can.
We did one more thing, like people in California, people in Florida, other states, they have increasing problems getting homeowners insurance. But earthquake insurance has always been terrible in the state of California. It's got a 15% deductible or so. So you're betting that when you buy earthquake insurance, your bet is that your house will suffer more than $500,000 worth of damage before they pay $1. You're on the hook even with the best earthquake insurance, you're on the hook for the first $500,000.
Yeah,
So
but
they,
there's earthquakes there.
But I have a solution for that, Rick. I
What?
have a solution for it. Don't live in an earthquake zone.
that's true,
Yeah,
but this is where
I mean,
this is where the TV work. Hold on. This is where you have to live if you want to write for television, and that was my profession. So, but the deal is, what they say is, instead of paying $1,200 a year, take that for earthquake insurance. Take that money and use it to fortify your house. And we did that. Instead of buying bullshit earthquake insurance, we opened up the walls and we bought metal frameworks. They're called Hardy frames. That's one brand. And you epoxy them and you bolt them to the foundation. Then you run them up to the roof. And if you have a second floor, you buy another set of them. So it costs more than the insurance would have cost, but we fortified the house. So
you fortified the house, which is a great thing. Hey, Nick, since you're here, I was going to get into the soccer, but before I get to the soccer, you're talking about moving away and to places to escape stuff, but I did not realize that you were going to a place that had its own issues, because apparently there have been some deadly Spanish wildfires. Apparently there was a trapped dog that was rescued, and a UK couple was found burned and semi-conscious in Almera amid the Spanish wildfire. So I know that you were escaping some of the badness of North Carolina, but it looks like you might have gone back into something that is equally bad, because residents of Spanish towns have been caught in these fierce blazes, and they're recounting their heroin escapes and everything like that. So what is your take on the fact that you apparently got have wildfires in Spain?
Ridiculous. Okay, I mean, the thing is, Spain is a big country. You know, it's like saying, oh, I live in Florida and I'm scared of earthquakes. Come on. You know, so when you live in Barcelona, you don't have those problems you're describing, Mark. It's like saying, oh, wow, I've got tremendous hurricane problems. I live in Iowa. You know, Spain's a big country, so you're talking about one part of Spain, minuscule part.
That's just one part of Spain, but apparently all of Europe has recorded 10,000 excess.
Y'all
got a major heat wave. So this is part of
let me get a word in here. Like every region has its risks. In Colorado, we had wildfires that got reasonably close to our house. And then we found out that in Colorado, you're a mile high, you're sitting on rock. It turns out that rock is radioactive. So we have a higher risk of lung cancer from radiation coming up through the rocks. Dr. Sharif, in Dhaka, you guys, Bangladesh is known for flooding. Every place has, I mean, you could probably, if you want to live your life that way, you could probably like go to actuarial maps and stuff and figure out the safest place in America, but that isn't necessarily where you can get a decent job. It might be.
Well, you're not stuck
hold on
to
1
Los
second.
Angeles.
What are you going to do about the heat wave? What are you going to do about the heat wave? Because that's what's hitting Europe.
It's
Germany
really
recorded
hot,
nearly 100 drowning deaths, many of them young men, because they're jumping into the
You're
water.
talking about the desert. Okay, they have a desert here. Look, it's 123 degrees in Death Valley. What are you going to do about the heat wave there? You live in North Carolina. What are you going to do, guys? Are you scared of the heat
it's
wave
going to
in
be
Death Valley?
this week in
you're talking about
in the California desert. If you live in Palm Springs, it's going to be 110 on Wednesday in Palm Springs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I live in Barcelona. Barcelona is not Extremadura and it's not Death Valley. Okay, so with that, it's not an argument. Now, let's talk about the risk of Barcelona, because I did look. Are there tidal waves in Barcelona? No. Earthquakes in Barcelona? No. What is the danger of Barcelona? There's too many tourists and people moving in. I mean, there's always risk, but you can moderate it. But there's absolutely no reason you need to live in a fault zone today with AI and the internet, because you have to write for some idiot producer.
But, all right, but we've taken
sell your home, take your millions, and go find a mega mansion.
We've reinforced our home. We've done a lot. We've done a lot of reasonable stuff. But let's talk about the biggest risk. There have been about 110 billion humans who've ever lived. Only 8 billion of them are alive right now. The other 102 billion dead. It comes for all of us, unfortunately, unless we can. This next generation might be able to download their brains into a box. But for most people, the risk is going to catch up with Sam Neill yesterday. Lindsey Graham didn't want to go to the hospital. He said, "I'll go after I go on Meet the Press." By the time he was dead before he could. He had
to be in the hospital the day of. Or
yeah, if you're going to have an aortic dissection, if you've got an aorta that's about to blow up, you need to be in that. You have to be in the hospital when it blows. Otherwise, you are dead. Now, let's talk about one other guy who might be dead, which is Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell hasn't been seen in public in a month. He was taken out. Wait. Come on. Before you laugh and interrupt me, they released a picture showing that he's in hospital, looking hale and hearty, pointing at today's newspaper. It was shown by a number of outlets that newspaper, at the very least, was added by AI, that there's a weird fog around his finger, that the print of the newspaper isn't correct. It's also watermarked. When you use AI will put a mark, weave it into the picture to show that it's AI, so people don't try this bullshit. Well, that picture had an AI watermark, so people still do not know what's up with Mitch.
So,
and wait, there's one more thing. If they can keep him from being declared dead until August 3rd, another 3 weeks, then they don't have to hold a special election. And a lot of people suspect that's what they're up to.
So I just found it interesting. You guys went from the warming of Spain all the way to Mitch McConnell being the weekend at Bernie's Mitch McConnell.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Just to point out, yes, the world is warming. Yes, Spain is in danger. Yes, Spain. If you go look it out, it is actually. It's factual. Even the U.S. Embassy talks about how Spain is warming twice as fast, and that there have been last year alone 3,832 heat-related deaths between May 16th and September 30th. So yes, Spain is actually warming. That's a big thing. Building on the fault line, Nick, it's not so easy for people to just up and move. People don't have that kind of money. And when you're saying this, you're speaking. Stop. Let me finish.
Oh my Lord.
People do not have that kind of money to just,
they need a lot of money.
Go ahead and buy a new house, because there's so many new houses on areas that I can live that you're talking about. And people don't have that. You're speaking on a level that really isn't there. And then to get to the Mitch McConnell big piece of it, yes, the only reason that Mitch McConnell, or they have not shown proof of life for Mitch McConnell, is the fact that they're trying to stall it to the August 3rd deadline. If you notice the photo they put out, his hair is somehow younger than it was before he went in.
Yeah.
If you look at his face, his facial features, everything about it is an AI photo. And then
so he's faking his life.
Yes.
Is that what you guys are saying?
The dude is.
People don't know what's happening.
Listen.
He's faking his
hold
life.
on, Nick. At what point do you give CPR to a man that fell? That is what happened.
Oh,
And he said,
he could have been having a heart attack.
fell and lost consciousness. The dude had a heart attack.
Yeah.
He had a
People
heart
survive
attack.
heart attacks, Jacoby. I hate to tell you that.
Yes. There is a very small chance that you survive a heart attack when nobody is around and then you get it reported later. The dude had a heart attack and then they found him in his home.
Yeah,
So
man.
there's well-founded speculation. This guy, Rick Wilson, former Republican operative turned into a never-Trumper, he says that he's talked to a number of people in the know who say that Mitch McConnell, yes, is alive, but is in ICU in no state to be shown to the public, in possibly in a vegetative state, but certainly not in as he was pictured, because Toby's right. So if you compare the picture to Mitch McConnell in 2023, that's a 2023 photo, people think, or because if you look at it as he's been in the photos taken of him in 2026, every year your hair, if you're gray haired like me, it gets wispier and you get less of it. And he's got hair from years ago. That's what people are, and of his face from years. So anyway, there seems to be, and also his office is known for being less than perfectly truthful. So people are calling shenanigans.
And the wild part about it again, if he has so much time on his hands to supposedly call Scott Jennings and call all these people and have these great discussions, but they cannot get him on the phone or do a video to show proof of life for any news organization. He only can talk to particular people and have conversations to those particular people, but can't talk to any news organization, which he was regularly on before. They can't get video out of him. Yeah.
Wow, this is a great story you guys are making up. I mean, the thing is,
it's all over. No, this is all over the news. This speculation.
Boy, the liberals are just as good. Just make it up.
Here's a question. Here's a question.
Well, show me one thing that supports
Nick, hold on.
Theory.
Here's how you dismantle what we are saying.
I can't believe
Nick, here's how you dismantle
a politician in America. A senator taking his life. Really?
Hold on. This is how you dismantle what we are saying.
Really?
Provide proof of life. And then on top of that, hold on. Remember, we just went through yourself.
Have a drink.
Hold on.
This is insane.
We just went through yourself and the Republican Party, and we continue to go through. Hey, Biden is dead.
Biden's dead now too.
Biden. No, this is what you've stated. And Biden is no longer living. Biden is. They're not. Somebody else is doing his signature. That's why he's using the auto pen.
Oh, he was saying the auto
other
pen.
stuff
They were saying it was
of all these fake things, and they even provided proof, but you couldn't accept that. But somehow you accept an AI photo of Mitch McConnell and quotes, not actual list, not actual video, audio, or anything, just quotes.
Who sent the photo out?
Hey, speaking of quotes and everything like that, I do want to get to Sasha, but before I get to Sasha, speaking of quotes, I have another person that has passed away that I want to know what y'all think of him. But I was actually watching on social media recently, so I was actually watching Gil Scott-Heron's daughter. Gil Scott-Heron has passed away several years, but his daughter is a well-known poet, and she remembered this term that Gil Scott-Heron had called the oatmeal man, which basically means that you are very much going with the winds, that you kind of go with the winds of the time. And that's what he felt that Lindsey Graham did, that he went with whoever was popular at the time. I know it's not good to speak ill of the dead and everything like that, but what is y'all's take of that? Is that a fair criticism of Lindsey Graham when he was living? That he kind of like went with the times, whichever way the winds were blowing?
Well, that's what he's supposed to do. First of all, he's a politician, number one. Number two, he's supposed to represent his constituents. So he's got to figure out what they want, and they has to go abide their way. And if they change their mind, he's got to change his mind. So what? What's the big deal? It's like you guys got to create things that don't exist. Like, oh, Mitch McConnell's really dead, but he's alive. but we don't really know. So we'll just make them up to be dead because
This is
really great for TV.
This is a medium-big news story that is so legit outlets like newspaper. Hold on. You can't. Cincinnati Enquirer, Snopes.com. Major news sources have looked at the Snopes is pretty much the gold standard for debunking.
Wow.
And
Usually when I look to do fact checking and high-end research, I look at Snopes. Nope.
So all right,
why don't you go to AI?
Cincinnati, so look at major news. Look at half a dozen. Don't talk over me. Look at half a dozen major newspapers that have all examined the photo and shown that it is almost 100% certainty that it is AI. What now? They could have legitimate reasons to put out an AI photo.
Having weird
hold on. Let me. That McConnell might be okay mentally, but he might look like hammered shit. And they want to make people not freak out, so they put out an AI. So he could be alive. His brain might work, but really you don't know. And when they put out a photo that is demonstrably AI, then it makes people wonder what the F is going on.
Again,
well, AI says he's alive.
If you want to end, hold on, Nick. Again,
AI
if you
says
want
Mitch McConnell is
to end,
dead.
if you want to end all the conspiracy talk, all you have to do is put out a proof of life. The picture added more questions than it did answers.
Oh my Lord.
So if you want to end any conspiracy, prove it wrong by showing and utilizing the proof of life.
We've got Steve Rao with us. We don't get Steve here to offer
that. I know. I just want to finish this and we can go straight to Steve. Again, he supposedly had ample time to call particular individuals, only a certain couple. But then he did not have time to do a video, did not have time to talk to any media individual, any audio of him, so on and so forth. Even worse, they've already stated that he will not be back in Congress over the next month. The reason why, again, it was pointed out that they're trying to delay to the August 3rd deadline. If he cannot represent his constituents, which he obviously cannot, they have to have a special election. After August 3rd, if he somehow, he's too sick to continue, they don't have to have a special election. So they're trying to stall 3 weeks to get there. That is the problem. So talk all you want about, hey, the picture and blah, blah,
problem
blah.
He's sick.
Show proof of life.
And you want him to jump
to
around
do
like
his
a
job.
Animal, and the guy's sick. I don't believe it. You guys are sick. You know, you want him to jump up and down, write this letter, go over here, file a hearing.
He is a congressman.
Prove your life.
Show
in the hospital.
go to work.
Unbelievable.
We had somebody that tried to run for both of you. We had somebody that tried to run for politics. So let's hear from Steve Rao and also
Steve. Where's Steve? Steve,
federal controls of elections ahead of the midterms. So what's your take on the midterms? Because I've actually heard that there are even Republicans that are saying that the Democrats will probably win the House, and there's even a possibility that they could win the Senate. So what's your take on the political landscape?
Well, I mean, I think, first of all, it was a shock with the death of Lindsey Graham. I never saw that coming. So, that was a real shocker. It'll be interesting to see who the president supports. He was on Meet the Press yesterday on the phone. And, I think it's going to be somebody that's a Trump ally. Apparently, he was very supportive of the current governor. I don't even know who the governor of South Carolina is. But I think that's going to be an interesting development. And then as it relates to Senator McConnell, I mean, I think it's, once again, I've been saying this for years and years. These senators are getting so old. I really think there should be some kind of a age limit on a U.S. senator or even a Supreme Court justice. If you're at the point where you can't represent your constituents and you're on life support or unable to lead, or whatever it is, I think you should do the right thing. And resign or step down and let the governor make an appointment, or have a special election. In terms of the environment, I think Democrats are going to win the House. I think Democrats may have a chance to win the Senate. You're going to have a divided government the last 2 years, but I think all bets are on the presidency in 2028. And I think this will be the last chance the Democrats have to nominate somebody to win the presidency. I think if they don't win it in 28, then I think the Democrats probably won't see the White House again for probably in our lifetime. That's my prediction. I'm hearing rumors about AOC running, Bernie running, Kamala running, Cory Booker running. The field is going to be very, very large. And I think their biggest challenge is going to be being able to win somebody that can win the Electoral College, not the popular vote. So none of the liberal Democrats will have a chance of winning the electoral map. So it's really what the Democrats want. But that's my take on it. This is their last chance to win the White House in the next 50 years. 2028. So they better get serious.
Yeah, and find somebody who's a center fielder rather than everybody's in left field.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, if the Democrats want to get back in the office, they're going to need a center fielder. You got
people often ask. I've been having a chance to read more. Sorry, guys, I got a little bit of a cough. I'm coming off a flu. Here's a cold, really bad cold. But they always ask about the electoral map, and I think part of it was, no longer in, when they treated Black Americans as 3/5 of citizen, the idea that you would have to, have a percentage weight carried for those citizens who were not full citizens, but that's obviously out the door now. But the notion of the smaller regions of the country being able to have representation as much as the populous states, I do think is one of the reasons why there still is an electoral college. And I think that it's a weird way to elect your natural leader, but I can see kind of where it still has relevance. I guess we could debate this. Some people just say that's just the way it is. The more popular people would win, the more popular states. And then as of now, it probably would be Democrats that would have more of the advantage. But I think it's a very interesting political environment and very, very divisive times. So we'll see what happens.
Appreciate it. Hey, I want to come back to Stalker just for a second.
I was just gonna get into it too.
Go ahead.
Why does the Democrat Party or the Democrat Party have to play about a different set of rules than the Republican Party?
Motion for a more specific statement.
We just talked about the Democrats need a center fielder. The Democrats need to come. Well, why don't the Republicans need a center fielder?
Because if they're going to win the White House, they're going to need a center fielder. Because
you
have a lot of right-wing
Jacoby, that's a great question. Jacoby, that's a great question. I think the reason the Democrats need, I see where you're going, but it'd be nice to have both parties have centrist candidates. I agree with that. But the reality is that independents up until now, or those who might be more socially conservative or fiscally conservative, but still might be progressive in certain values, they're not going to vote for an AOC. They're not going to vote for
question. That's not my question, though, Steve.
Yeah.
They voted for a Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
They voted for a Donald Trump, who's also very extreme. So why does one party have to play by a particular set of rules, be the big adults in the room, but the other party can do whatever they want?
They didn't vote for Donald Trump.
That's the issue. Because as you point out, for example, AOC, what is her most extreme thing that she's trying to do? The Green New Deal. Do you know if you break down the Green New Deal, most people want what's inside of it? Oh, hey, they want to give free health care and all this other stuff. Well, the majority of the population believes and wants that kind of thing. But what ends up happening is that people demonize it to a point that people don't want particular things because they hear a catchy name or a catchy phrase. For example, the individual in Michigan that, and don't get me wrong, I'm not this whole Democrat socialist. I don't care about the names. Talk to me about policy. So, for example, what they're trying to come down on the one individual in Michigan right now, when supposedly he was so into the defund the police. Well, if you look at the actual policies, which they were talking about in that whole thing, the actual policies were things that people wanted, but it got demonized to a point where, hey, what you're talking about is you're just taking money away from the police and you don't want police, you want all this free stuff. So it gets to a point where, again, they voted for people yelling out they're eating cats and dogs. But no, you can't vote for a person who had the policies that had nothing to do with that. It was just this made up mantra that people fell for. So again, we're talking about two political parties that are playing by two different sets of rules, yet we're only trying to hold one accountable.
Sasha had a thought?
Yes, I do. Look at the Mandami example. He was not a center figure, and yet he won very convincingly. It seems to me that if Democrats are going to lose presidential election anyway, because of just too many factors for me to go into, but they will lose. So in this case, why don't Democrats going for extreme, going for Ocasio-Cortez? Don't look for central figure because you're losing anyway. With central figure, without central figure, you are doomed to lose. So at least get on a very popular agenda. You want to free Medicare, you want to freeze this, or you want to free buses all day long, and so on. Go with that because it's a super populist agenda, and you might just as well win. And if you lose anyway. You have nothing to lose.
And what Sasha just stated is actually where the actual Democratic base is. It's not a matter of doing this free stuff. It's a matter of standing on policy. When we keep talking about they must be a centrist and they must be able to play both sides, that's when you begin to look weak and look very, you're placating to too many people. You're not really being authentic. And that's where the two rule system, well, the playing by the different rules doesn't work. Because what people are voting for mostly, honestly, that's what they voted for Trump for. Because they thought that what Trump stands on what he means. And he's very authentic in what he means. And that's what a lot of people voted for. They'll even state that now. Well, he does what he says. Even though he says all this crazy stuff, they ignore all that because they go on this idea. And that's what Sasha's talking about. And that's where the base is. So what Mamdani did is, hey, we need to do these things. I'm going to do these things. I don't care what you say about me. So that's, I think, more so where the Democrat Party can come back and actually stand on business and sound authentic by actually having policies that are populist policies, that are actually policies that people want. From, hey, we're gonna fix this healthcare system. I'm tired of it. You hate it. We hate it. Let's go ahead and figure out a way to get this single payer system working. People will vote on that in comparison to hearing, well, we don't want to have girls and boys stuff. Or boys and girls stuff. That's where the problem is. We fighting these culture wars and trying to work on both sides when you don't sound authentic when you're doing that. Just stand on your policies and fight for it.
Hey, Steve, I had a quick question for you and everything along those lines and everything in that space. If you are correct, and Sasha has said something similar and everything, and others on this network, and the Democrats aren't able to win for 50 years, I can't see us having a one-party rule. So does that mean that another party would come out other than the Democrats? Because I know that's what happened way back when with the Whigs and stuff like that. So are you saying that if the Democrats lose, that the Democratic Party is done and another party will come to replace the Democratic Party? Or you just say we're going to have a one-party rule?
I don't know. I mean, I think third parties. I'm helping the Ford Party a little bit in North Carolina. And they're kind of not really a third party movement, kind of another option to trying to get on the ballot. But I think third parties are really hard in the United States because you have to have the infrastructure of the two-party system. So I think it would have to be not a new party, but I think there needs to be now the creation of a new Democratic Party, a Democratic Party that's going to get back to talking about the working issues of America, the working class families, the economy, rather than just these social issues that I think tend to dominate more in the urban areas, but they're getting away from talking about people's wallets and pocketbooks. And so maybe it's a spinoff of the Democrats, maybe like a Tea Party movement when remember the Tea Party, they spun out of the Republican Party. I think there needs to be some kind of a movement from the Democratic Party. And like Toby said, not talk about moving to the center or this, but the right issues. And I really believe that the right issues for this country are people are paying higher prices for gas, higher prices for housing, energy prices are off the roof. We have a disruptive foreign policy. Americans don't feel safer anymore. We need presidents of the United States talking about those issues. And I just don't see a lot of these social candidates doing it. And I don't believe that socialism in and of itself works. Democratic socialism might be a good short game for Mamdani and all these other democratic socialists, but it's not a path to the White House. And so that's the problem, is that you have and I'm just speaking as from the heart. Sorry, Sasha, go ahead.
The election in United States is so rigged in favor of Republicans that Democrats with the center candidate, with the best candidate, with whatever they will be able to muster, they are doomed to lose. They will not win unless they are going into a radical agenda, similar to what Mamdani does in New York, to energize, to bring Democrats in force, to do the rallies, to say that's what we want, we don't want any difference or so on. They have to win on emotions one way or another. They cannot do it in a regular, quiet way. Okay, we have a caucus here, or we had caucus there. Okay, New York Times endorsed us and somebody else did. It's not enough to win. Actually, the loss would be even bigger than in 2024.
I hear you. It's just really quickly, and this is getting away from politics for a second because I mentioned it earlier, and I know you've been following it very actively. Matter of fact, that's for the reason some of the shows haven't been going on that are shows that you do regularly, and I'm not knocking that because I've been watching them as well. But are you still calling for a France-Algeria France-Argentine final, as you have been calling in the past, or is it going to be Spain knocking off France, or is England got a chance? So I know historically, throughout the last several weeks of the World Cup, you've been saying that it's going to be France against Argentina. So is that still what we're going with, and everything like that?
I think Spain has better chance to knock out France than England to knock out Argentina. If you take Argentina's game, their technique is unsurpassed. Their level of controlling the ball is unsurpassed. England actually looks very mediocre team when you compare it to the technical skills of Argentina. With Spain and France are two strong European teams, and lately actually Spain had a very good record against France, beat it twice. Now France looks to me stronger than Spain, but it doesn't mean anything. Spain can still ultimately fight and defeat France. So I'd say France has small advantage, but Spain has its chances. So in the final will be the winner of Spain-France, and the winner against Argentina and England. And in my opinion, it's not even contest. Regardless how Argentina is tired and so on, they will be very motivated by English. They beat England several times. They had 1986 crucial victory just 4 years after Falkland War, and for Argentina, it was very important to hit and destroy English team, and they did it. Maradona actually himself did it. So I think it will be continuation of same. The Argentina is so much better to controlling the ball, to have combinations, to have passes. Their technique is unsurpassed. There is no country in the world that has similar level of individual technique what Argentina has. So obviously, I'm on side of Argentina, always was, and hopefully they will destroy England. Something like 3-4-0 would help a lot.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Oh, speaking of which, at the top of the hour at Economics today, we're going to have Dr. Jeff Brown, who's the former dean of the University of Illinois Business School. He received his PhD at MIT, and he'll be joining us for economics with the Honorable David M. Walker. He actually received his PhD in economics from MIT, then was the dean of University of Illinois Business School for quite some time. So that's going to be coming up at the top of the hour for the people that want to join us. It gives you another doctor to talk to, Dr. Shreve, somebody that's also does that type of stuff. In terms of the World Cup, we all know in Spain, in Barcelona, that Spain will win the World Cup. They'll beat France, and then they'll go ahead and beat Argentina. Argentina, of course, will crush England because England doesn't really have a team. And then that'll be it. But we'll know more at the end of this week, I would imagine. So we're definitely following the World Cup here in Spain. And when Spain, remember, their goalie is really great in Spain. They scored like one goal. And if you saw it, it was an amazing play by Belgium. But other than that, no one scored against Spain. I mean, they just can't. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully France will go down, and then we'll see Spain win the World Cup once again. So anyway,
actually, for Spain would be easier to win a final if it would be England against them.
Well, that I would agree. It'd be easier if the England,
it would be done deal. Now with
Argentina still has Messi, from what I understand, Sasha.
It's not just Messi; it's all the players. You see their technique with the passes. We see the ball is almost becoming part of their leg. It's not going away. You know, when they're taking the ball is right there. It doesn't go away from Argentina. They are phenomenal players, greatest technique. Now, second in technique, actually, strangely enough, comes Spain. Spanish players also have great technique. Now, will that be enough to beat France? We will see tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow's game, and then Wednesday is the other game, and everything like that. Just really quickly before we get out of here and get to Economics Monday, which Nick was referring to, and all along those lines, what is the latest coming? And I know you'll be talking about it tomorrow with Ivan in the Ukraine-Russian war, and are we going to see any sort of developments in that space as well? I know that it seems like there's been some new developments, but please tell us more about what's going on in that war, Sasha.
It's a very interesting situation. So Ukraine, for the last year and a half, if not 2 years, was asking somehow to finish the war, to have a kind of peace negotiation, to have a little bit of this and that, and with Trump or without Trump. What's happening today? It's Russia has to beg for peace negotiations and end the war as soon as possible, because Ukraine has such a huge advantage on the front lines, on the bombardment of Russian oil refineries and so on. It's Ukraine just all the way. They have producing 7 million sophisticated drones a year. So that's not going to stop. So okay, so they have successful drone attack on one, refinery. Okay. But next day they have yet another attack. Then they do the drone attack on the same refinery that they already liquidated a day ago, to make sure that Russians don't even try to repair it or something. It's horrible. There are no gasoline in many places in Russia, starting from Crimea. People are fighting in lines to get the 20 liters of gas that's what's permitted for them to get, and they now wearing knives for their lineups to hit the people who are ahead of them and who are preventing them to get their gasoline. I saw several clips when there are two pretty women, beautifully dressed, on high heels, like very, very high sexuality women, and they hit each other and swearing at each other. You must see that. That is in Crimea. So this is a new attraction, is to see Russian clips of beautiful Russian women fighting for 20 liters of gasoline. It's just incredible. So this is what's happening in front lines and in Crimea and elsewhere. Same thing, and it's gonna get worse. So, Donald, help your friend Vladimir. Help him now, because tomorrow will be too late. There will be nothing left. There are bombardments of Moscow going on. It's just hilarious. And I must admit that on our program, Ukrainian Show, we were talking about inevitable victory for Ukraine for the last 4 years since the beginning of the war, and people were criticizing us. Oh, it cannot happen, and no, Russia is so big, and they will regroup, and they will do this or that. Russia, where are you? Don't try to regroup. Don't just go and die. Just do something for us. Oh my God, it's pathetic.
It sounds like it. So we're going to get out of here and have another World Edition on tomorrow. But we do have Economics Monday coming up. And, of course, we've got the Russia-Ukraine show coming up on tomorrow. So definitely we'll look forward to more of these conversations. But right now, let's get out of here. We've got Economic Monday with the Honorable David Walker. And I think we've got another guest that Nick was talking about as well. So let's get on out of here, and we'll see what those conversations about economics are all about.
Thank you.
No problem.